Hello and welcome to Everyday Petrolhead. I'm your host Terrence Anderson and welcome to my channel. Now arguably and inevitably this is all my fault. When you have a family and you have a problem child, you tend to focus on dealing with the problem child's issues, and inevitably and arguably what happens is the good child decides that to get attention she's gonna do some crazy crap. I essentially mistimed the maintenance interval for dealing with the brakes, and my lovely wife was the one who noticed it. She noticed it about a week or two ago, and I thought we were good because I initially checked the outer pad on the rotor, but didn't consider the fact that you can't really see the inner pad from, without taking the wheel off. And inevitably, that is where the problem lies. You'll understand in a moment. So, try to get you some light. I'm trying to be careful, but essentially what ended up happening is the pad on the inside ground all the way down to the point where it started creating grooves in the rotor. And you can see them right here, the grooves along here. This is very bad. I am very glad that my wife made it home safely. And it's a good thing we buy thicker rotors. Like I almost always replace the rotor every single time we buy brakes. I tend to not reuse rotors very often. So that might have saved the scenario, because there's no way the pad was gonna eat through, or the metal backing of the pad was going to eat through this much steel. But at the same time, it's not good. And if you're interested in knowing what the actual pad looks like, that's what the pad looks like. I'll take out the inside one and then show you the inside compared to the outside, and partly why, because I'm so busy dealing with the drama from the other car, I didn't pay attention to what was going on with this car. So what does frustrating pseudo-lazy design look like? It's this: deciding to use a metal brake line, which is a great idea. That's a great idea. Half metal brake line, and the rest of it is rubber over there, or plastic or whatever. Deciding to put the bolt in the most ill-fitting location and using such a shallow bolt that it strips every time you try to turn it. And now I have to try to get this out with a vice grip. I got the other one out with a vice grip, and it's in bad condition. I mean, I can't use that bolt again. So I have the same problem now with this one. And this one does not want to come out. Happy me. Quick pro tip: if you do not have a brake compressor, like the device that they use to squeeze the pistons in, it's always a good idea to use the old pad and a C-clamp to push the piston all the way in. In this case, this car has dual piston calipers on the front and singles on the rear, and this allows it to put even pressure on the very large pads on the rotors. So this scenario works out great because it distributes the pressure on the pistons evenly. You just go back and forth between the left and the right until you get it all the way in. So that you can see the difference in pad thickness. You have a brand new pad right here, right? That's the new pad. This was the inner pad, and that was the outer pad. So you don't want it to get too deep. What I did notice was that these pads don't have the thing that notifies you that the brakes are low. It's like a little piece of metal that usually sticks out right here. It scrapes on the edge of the rotor and makes a little bit of a squealing noise. It's a very distinct squealing noise. It's not like brake squealing noise. So you know the difference when you hear it. It's pretty bad, but it's not actually that bad. If you deal with it fast, you might actually be able to reuse the rotor, although I prefer to replace the rotor every time. These don't have that. And also, I just noticed I don't have a brake wear sensor on the pads, on the caliper. the BMW comes with it. Apparently this one does not, so that might be part of the problem. I might be relying too heavily on technology. I need to accept the fact that I need to check it a little bit more. So yeah, again, still my fault for this one. Okay, so the left one is on. New pads, new rotor, new everything. I just have to tighten everything up, button everything up. And this one is done, put the wheel back on. Then we go fight with the right side of this car. Not looking forward to that.
Eventually.
All right, so it's late morning and you can see at the top, these are the old pads. That was the outer pad and that's the inner pad. And these are the two new pads. And to be honest with you, let's get some balance on this light. There we go. To be honest with you, it's bad, but thank God the only thing that really got damaged, focus camera, thank God the only thing that got damaged was the pad and the rotor. The rest of the caliper and all the brake equipment is fine. So I'm grateful for that. Again, I feel like this only happened because I was so focused on the problem child instead of worrying about both. And if I was paying attention to the good child, I would have noticed when this was happening. I feel like there's a metaphor in there somewhere about kids. Anyway, let's finish this repair. All right, and the new one is on. And this was a lot more work than it should have been. But at the end of the day, this was the problem. This bolt refused to come out, so I had to get an impact set that's supposed to be designed to pull the bolts. You basically hammer it on like crazy and then you extract the bolt. So I replaced it with a new bolt and yeah, that took like 8 hours. There we go, wheels back on. So the next thing to do is gotta put her down, tighten up the lug nuts and go from there. Now that the work's done, time to get rid of the pads. The moral of the story is don't neglect your good kid when the problem kid is causing all sorts of problems. If you like what I've been talking about, like, share, and subscribe, and join me next time on Everyday Petrolhead. Thanks.